Hi, welcome back to Peregrine. Today I'm in Helsinki and it's actually my last day in Finland. I literally have a plane to catch in a couple of hours, and I wanted to make a quick video to reflect on my trip, thinking specifically about the things I miss and don't miss so much about living in Finland. There's a lot I could say about this topic, but today I'll just be covering a few points on each side. So first, let's start with the things that I miss about living in Finland. So number one for me is actually the bike infrastructure. So before I moved to Helsinki, I had ridden a bike I think once in the past 15 years. But when I came here and I saw really how nice the bike lanes were, how safe, how well separated from traffic and even from pedestrians, I really felt quite encouraged to get one. And of course, the first couple of days were a bit rough, but after a while, it became my main means of transportation. Except in the winter, I'm not really an expert yet with winter tires. But definitely in the spring, autumn, summer, I was riding my bike everywhere. It was really a nice way to discover the city and also to even learn how to do some small things on the bikes, like some small bike repair. And that really made me feel a lot more confident about moving around. And even though that's something that's really improving in Paris, I still don't really feel safe driving or riding my bike there the same that I do in a city like Helsinki. So number two for me is the scale of the city of Helsinki. So as someone who's lived in Paris and New York, I really enjoy living in a large city with large international communities and lots of activities. What's nice about Helsinki is that it is a capital, so you have the convenience of metro, tram, buses, just everything that you need, and international movie festivals, international markets, everything that you need in a big city. But it's not that crowded, and I realized that I actually like that. I like being able to move around and not being always in a crowd. I like to find in the capital a place like this where you have the sea, where there's actually no one around. And that's something that I really like, to be able to have the combination between city living but also quiet life. So number three for me is the long days of summer. I know it's a bit funny to talk about it now because this is total winter time, but that's something I think about a lot when I'm back in Helsinki, is how energized you feel when the days are that long, that it could be 10 p.m. but there's still so much sun out that you feel like you have so much energy and so many things you can still do. And I really miss that about living in Finland. So number four, and last but not least, is my friends. So as I mentioned in my Pillars video, while I was studying for my master's, I organized a lot of events and just really was able to make a lot of friends while living here. And these are people that I still keep in touch with and that I was really happy to meet again while I was here. It was literally every day kind of a race to meet people, safely of course in COVID times, but I was really able to see people again, and that was a nice reminder that whenever I'm in Helsinki, I actually have people that I can see and that I have these relationships that are still here. So now let's talk about the things that I don't miss so much about living in Finland, or specifically Helsinki. So the first thing for me is really the gray days. So throughout all of autumn, all of winter, maybe even a part of the spring, the skies are gray all the time. And a lot of people, when you come to Finland, they'll talk about the short days in winter. To be honest, that doesn't bother me so much, especially in Helsinki, because it's not that far north. But really having gray skies all the time is really difficult for me. I find it really hard to look out the window, have gray skies all the time. And even when it's snowy, for me, I still feel like it's quite dark. Finnish people typically, they really like when it snows because they feel like it really brings this light back. But yeah, for me, it's not enough to balance it out. So that's something I don't really miss about living here. So number two for me is the lack of diversity. Of course, in Helsinki, you'll see quite many different types of people, but compared to a city like Paris or New York, it's not quite the same. And for me, it's not just about having people present, but it's also about people being aware of the issues, being aware of discrimination, being aware of unfairness. It's also about having diversity in government or in positions of power. And while there's still a lot of work to do in Paris or in France overall or in the US, it's a lot more ahead than in Finland. And I find it sometimes difficult to have these conversations with people here because they're just not as aware of the issues. And that's something I can talk about a lot more in future videos, but that's something that's a bit less comfortable here for me. So number three in the things that I don't miss about Finland is the food. So don't get me wrong, there's a lot of really fresh food in Finland, which I really enjoy, and that's something that I find in France and Europe overall. But a lot of the traditional food here is a lot of fish and seafood, which I actually don't eat. A lot of potatoes are these root vegetables, which are not my favorite either. So that's something that I don't miss so much. Yes, I'm really happy to be back in France and have easier access to the foods that I like the most. So that's it for 4 things I miss about living in Finland and for things that I don't miss so much. I usually don't like to leave things uneven, but I have to play to catch, so I really gotta go. And I'm really looking forward to making more videos about my times in Finland and, even would I ever come back. But for now, I think this is a nice little intro and a reflection on a trip that's been really nice for me to get out of Paris for a bit. Alright, please like this video and subscribe to hear more from me. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time.